So I'm going to show you how I like to mix up my planting mix for containers or topping up beds for fertilised roots. So I take a good quality peat-free compost, and I've emptied a couple of 40 litre bags in here, so there's 80 litres altogether in there. The reason I like to use this wheelbarrow is it holds the water, I can disinfect it easily and then move the compost around the garden. So I'm just adding the water. I had about initially about 5 to 6 litres. I don't know what that is. Maybe 2 gallon. Is that about that? That about right? And then I just work in the water so that there's no dry bits in the compost. And this is actually a technique you would use if you were making concrete. So and this is where I got it from. This is how I like to do it, because it gets a even distribution of the water. And then I just check how dry it is and whether I need to add any more water at this stage, but I don't. So now I'm going to add my fertilizer, and I'm using blood, fish and bone, which is a good balanced garden fertilizer. Obviously you can use synthetic ones, but they tend to be a little bit nitrogen heavy, so I like to use the blood, fish and bone. If I was sowing onions or planting onions up into a bed, I would add a bit of garden lime as per the instructions. Or if I'm planting potatoes and I had potato fertilizer, I would add that. Now I just add a bit more water, usually a few more litres of water is about right. It depends on how wet the compost is that you've had in the first place. Obviously you don't have to use a bought compost for this. You can use your garden compost, and you don't have to use peat free, but if I can in these situations, I do, because it's better for the environment. So you can see I'm just working in the fertilizer. At this stage I would then add the lime and work in the lime if I was doing my onions. And this is essentially the same method for if I was doing herbaceous or flowering herbaceous plants or shrubs, but I would probably use a synthetic fertilizer, or I could use my blood, fish and bone. And that's it essentially done. All I have to do is just move it over to the area of the garden where I want it. Do you have a gardening question you need answering? Perhaps you need to know what compost type to use, or how to improve your compost or soil. Drop a comment below and I'll see if I can help.